The Texas Tech football team returned to Jones AT&T Stadium for only the fourth time this season, with hopes of extending their winning streak in Lubbock. But could the Red Raiders put down the Baylor Bears before heading back on the road? Coming up, MCTV's Alejandra Salazar has the details from Saturday's game in sports.
The most haunted holiday of the year is here, and one student organization put on a frightful edition of one of its most popular activities to get Red Raiders in the spooky spirit. Find out how some lucky students took part in a zombie invasion.
And Pride Week officially wrapped up last week here at Texas Tech. We'll show you how one department used the last day of the celebration to help educate faculty, staff and students about an important topic in the LGBT+ community.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Elene Khajishvili.
And I'm Kiley Phillips. For the second week in a row, the Texas Tech football team headed to Jones AT&T Stadium to take on a Big 12 opponent in front of a home crowd.
After last week's beatdown of West Virginia, fans were hoping for another big win as head coach Joey McGuire's former team made their way to Lubbock. But could Tech extend their winning streak to 2 against the Baylor Bears? MCTV's Alejandra Salazar joins us in studio with a look back at this past weekend's showdown. Alejandra?
Thanks, Elena and Kiley. Both Texas Tech and Baylor walked into the Jones on Saturday night with identical records, but only one could walk out with a win. And even though many people expected the game to be a shootout, the Baylors left Lubbock with a lopsided victory. Saturday's matchup started out pretty uneventful, with both teams only scoring a field goal within the first 26 minutes of play. But with just over 3 minutes left in the first half, Baylor rushed in for their first touchdown of the night. Tech got the ball back, but the Red Raiders went 3 and out. Only 2 minutes remained on the clock, but that's all Baylor would need to extend their lead to 17-3 at halftime. From there, the Bears never looked back, even when the Red Raiders scored 2 back-to-back touchdowns in the third quarter. But that would also be the last points Tech would put on the board, with Baylor taking control and securing the victory 45-17. Coming up later in sports, I'll have more details on what went wrong on Saturday, along with a look back on the conclusion to the Red Raiders Soccer's 2022 season. Back to you, Kiley.
Thanks, Alejandra. Today is Halloween, and some students here on campus are getting into the spirit by dressing up in full costume. But even if you didn't put on your Halloween attire this morning, one university group gave students the chance to have some frightful fun with a very spooky activity. The Student Activities Board hosted the Stuff a Zombie event this morning in the sub-courtyard. SAB set up tables and set out supplies at 11 a.m., but before the event even had started, a line had formed. Hundreds of students waited for their chance to get a plush zombie, grab some stuffing, and create a ghoulish gift they could take home for free. The event was a variation of the group's Stuff a Critter activity that has featured animals such as elephants, bears, and turtles. Today's activity only featured characters from the popular game Plants vs. Zombies.
And this one's different because this was during Halloween, so everyone was like, I definitely want a zombie, so this is what I feel like. Since it was Halloween, they're like, this is perfect holiday to celebrate.
SAB had about 300 zombies on hand for students to pick out and stuff, but due to the popularity of the event, all of the toys and stuffing were gone in about 19 minutes. SAB had to turn away hundreds of students in line after supplies ran out.
Stuff a Zombie wasn't the only Halloween-themed event on SAB's calendar. The group also used the Haunted Holidays as inspiration for an annual event open to students and their families. Family and Friends Night took place this past Friday in the SAB Courtyard and Allen Theater. The carnival-like event was held in conjunction with the 2022 edition of Family Weekend. Tech students, along with their parents, siblings, and friends, enjoyed a fun and free night of the activities. Attendees could stop by a photo booth, play giant games, create a special keepsake, and even compete in a trivia game show for the chance to win cash prizes. Along with the activities, the event included a housing fair, and the Texas Tech Parents Association hosted a family dinner in the SAB ballroom. Family and Friends Night wrapped up at 9 p.m. on Friday, but the Family Weekend events continued on Saturday, ending with the Tech versus Baylor game.
All last week, Texas Tech observed Pride Week through a series of events around campus. Pride Week started last Monday with the annual kickoff and finished up Friday with another early event. The Women's and Gender Study Department hosted the 2022 edition of the Gender and Sexual Identities Colloquium on Friday in the Sub Matador Room. Starting at 10 a.m., members of the WGS department, along with other faculty and students, gathered for several sessions held throughout the day. The event also featured several remote speakers who joined the events via Zoom. WGS hosts the event each year during Pride Week to provide a time for members of the tech community and beyond to cover issues that may not often be discussed on campus.
And we use this colloquium to bring awareness to different gender and sexual identities, just to kind of open up the conversation to people that really haven't had the educational access to things like these before. So everybody of all genders and sexualities is welcome to come out and learn a little bit about the WGS community and the classes we offer and just the support systems that we have on campus.
This year's Gender and Sexual Identities Colloquium wrapped up at 3 p.m. on Friday, but the Women's and Gender Studies Department hosts similar events throughout the year. For more information about WGS, along with details on future events, visit wgs.ttu.edu. It was a mild fall weekend here on the South Plains. Temperatures rose from around 50s on Friday to the low 70s yesterday, and it's finally starting to feel like the fall season is here.
Even though temperatures have been cooler, we still haven't experienced an official first freeze here in Lubbock. Traditionally, the days around Halloween are the average time for temperatures to start falling into the 30s. So can we expect even cooler conditions as we head into the second to the last month of the year? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. The MCTV tower cam is showing lots of sunshine today, but there's also been quite a few high clouds moving through the area. Conditions have been very similar to yesterday, with highs in the 60s and low 70s. It's also been dry today, making this only the second Monday of the month with no precipitation. Tonight, temperatures will drop back down into the upper 40s, and we should continue to see a few clouds in the area. Conditions should also remain dry as we head into the early morning hours. Tomorrow, the clouds will move on out, and we should see a return of bright sunny skies throughout the day. Tomorrow's high are forecast to be a little warmer than today, with temperatures reaching above 70 before sunset. Heading into the middle of the week, we'll continue to see highs in the 70s, but the clouds should make a return on Wednesday. The cloud cover will increase heading into Thursday, and there's a chance for thunderstorms on Thursday night. A cold front will also move through Thursday evening, and that will create cooler conditions to the end of the week. Looking ahead, stormy conditions and cooler temperature in the forecast through the end of the week, but the sun should return along with warmer weather by the end of the weekend.
As we mentioned earlier, the Texas Tech football team had a rough Saturday as they took on the Baylor Bears here in Lubbock, but they weren't the only Red Raider team in action over the weekend.
MCTV's Alejandra Salazar joins us again with another look around Texas Tech athletics in sports. Alejandra?
Thanks, Kiley and Elene. On Saturday night at Jones AT&T Stadium, Texas Tech hosted the Baylor Bears in front of a sold-out crowd for their blackout game. While the Red Raiders put their undefeated record at home on the line, they came up short to the Bears 45-17. Freshman Baron Morton was 4 of 17 with 2 interceptions and 3 sacks after a pick in the first minute of the second half that set up Blake Shapen's 9-yard touchdown pass to Hal Presley for a 24-3 Baylor lead. Unfortunately, after trying all 3 quarterbacks, the Red Raiders threw 5 interceptions and received their first loss at home this season. Although the outcome of the game was not what we wanted to see, Tech did have a reason to celebrate: the arrival of the Kansas City Chiefs star quarterback Patrick Mahomes, as he became the 8th member to join the Ring of Honor and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Coming up this weekend, the Red Raiders will travel to Fort Worth to play against the undefeated TCU Horned Frogs for another Big 12 matchup. And last night, the women's soccer team headed to the Big 12 tournament in Round Rock, Texas as the number 3 seed and took on the Oklahoma Sooners. After defeating the Sooners in the regular season 3-1, the Red Raiders fell to Oklahoma 1-0 with 10 seconds left in the matchup. This loss knocked them out of the tournament and brings an end to their season. Switching things over to basketball, the Lady Raider basketball team will host Midwestern State for a friendly exhibition match tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the United Supermarkets Arena. So if you want to get a preview of what the rest of the season holds for the ladies, make sure to go check it out. That's all for sports. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Alejandra. So, Kiley, do you have any big plans, Halloween plans for tonight?
I don't think I have any plans set yet, but I'll probably hang out with some friends. Do you have any plans?
Oh, I definitely do. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.